Right, y'all. Hey, we're back with obviously, it's me, the CEO and host of Support Black Business TV, and we're on episode 80, and we're with Arlene Wallis, or Arlene R. Wallis, who is one of our members at Black Folk Hotspots. She's a Baltimore-based blogger, and her focus is on the positive and motivating others on a daily basis. She's also a domestic violence survivor. She has some things going on with us, some events, and what we want to talk about today mainly is the main things that she blogs about, why who she is as a blogger, and then maybe I'll let her in on some things that we got coming on, which is why we're looking for more and more bloggers. So, Arlene, how are you going today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. So here, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, well, we already know my name is Arlene. So my writing name is Lady Blue. I go by Lady Blue here in Baltimore. And I am a writer slash blogger slash inspirational spirit. I believe in bringing the positive to Baltimore, the local area, the DMV, the East Coast, and the world, if that's possible. I do have a website. I do have an inspirational page on Facebook, and it's just my mission. It's been my mission, the gift given to me, if you will, to uplift others, because I spent so long in my life being downcast and down and out and always being the victim and never the victor. And when I finally hit that realization point or aha moment, I knew that I needed to do not just for myself, but for everyone around me.
So how long have you? So you've been blogging for how long? What made you get into the blogging side of things?
I've actually been blogging just under 2 years. I've been writing since high school. So that's been for the last about 20 plus years. I've been writing. A lot of my writing I kept to myself. I do have a couple of poems that are in the Library of Congress and, up there for all eternity. But I really didn't come out with blogging per se until I met and came into contact with World Prayer. The World Prayer Organization was looking for bloggers, writers, just faith-based people who would, be willing to uplift others via prayer, writing, whatever it may be. And it started with them. And I started writing. And next thing you know, here it is, about 4 years later, I'm still writing for them. And then somewhere in there, I just said, it's time for me to start my own blog. And when I started my own blog and my own website, I started it on on simple site, very simple, put it all together myself, started learning how to get it from where from in here to on paper to Facebook and doing the videos and things. So a lot of the things I learned were self-taught because I did not know who to time to figure out, how do I do this or how do I do that? And it was in self-teaching that I came to meet a lot of the people that I know now who have helped me, supported me, nurtured me, taught me the things that I know now that have furthered me in my writing and blogging to the point where I upgraded my website and I'm now almost on the border of a goal that I set for myself earlier in 2015, and that was to reach 100,000 hits on my website, and I'm close. I'm just over 82,000 on my website now, so I'm striving for my goal by the end of the year.
Okay, so that's interesting because I like to even in 2 years ago you said that you didn't know who to turn to. That's that's one of those things. It's like, wait a minute, everybody's a blogger, but no, especially out there on the East Coast, you guys got a lot of great bloggers. Is it once you started, then you're like, whoa, where did all these people come from?
Yes, exactly. I just Sunday, as a matter of fact, I just witnessed the ninth annual Baltimore Crown Awards, and I garnered a nomination in that award show among some serious heavy hitters here in the Baltimore area. And to be in that company with people that have been doing this longer than me, who have their finger on the pulse of this city like that, and to be considered like that, half these people I didn't even know until Sunday night. I know who they are now. I know who to turn to, who to look to for inspiration, who to go to for advice. The connection now is just bigger and broader than it was when I first started, because when I first started it was just me. And now the outreach it's there. It's you have to be able to talk to and meet people. If you can't talk to and meet people, you're not going to get very far.
Right. That's 100% true. It's funny how I always equate it to like buying a new car or period. It's like you didn't see that car on the road at all or in that color, but the minute you buy one, you're like, what? Where? Everybody got a black car.
Everybody got that
Everybody got
color
a
in
black.
that.
It's just
Exactly.
always interesting how that happens, and it's like I swear I didn't see that,
Exactly.
and I think it comes to that old school adage, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, because it's out there. I mean, it is out there big.
It is.
Um, so basically, when looking, is that the main thing that you block? What's the main thing, I guess, that when you write, that you write about?
I still continue to write the faith-based blogs for World Prayer, which I share on my website. Um, I also have a section on my website called LB Flavor, which is Lady Blue Flavor, and I focus on individuals making a positive impact here in this area, again around the DMV, the nation, the globe. They could be music artists, poets, fashion designers, um, financial entrepreneurs, business people. It's what impact are they making on our area or society that people don't know about. And it's amazing what people don't know about. These folks are right in their backyard and they have no clue that they could be sitting right next door to the person that could help them get from point A to point B, but they never know. And so that's one of my things that I do. I also have a poetry tab that's called Vibe in Blue. So every now and then the poetry vibe hits me, and I'll write some poetry. But I try to do my blog at least 2 to 3 times a week, to just bring something new, different, based on it could be something my kids told me, something I experienced outside, on my way to work, at work. Um, just hanging out, doing whatever. Um, I write from what I see and what I feel. That's basically where my writing comes from.
Right. So okay, and that's I'm checking it out, and that's is one of the things that the reason, and we're looking for people like you, and the reason being is because that's our main goal, is to get that information out, because you're in the Baltimore County area, you're in Essex, or in an area, and there's a lot of things that I believe that people need to know. And it wasn't just because you're from that area, but it's just period, that
Uh-huh.
community, right? I'm not from that community, but those are is different things that we need to know. Like,
Right.
I'll give you an example. I'm sure you heard about the lady, uh, Marissa Alexander, uh, down in Jacksonville, Florida, that fired the warning shot or whatever,
Right.
you know, and was facing like 60 years,
Right.
because and that was kind of, and I know, more to, and I was turned on to that well before the national media
Uh-huh.
had gotten even wind of it because it was brought to our attention by someone that was on Black Folk Hotspots. And here's the funny part. This person was from Ireland.
Mm.
You know, and it's like I would have never known. And one of the things that I like to do, because I'm like, wait a minute, this don't even sound right. You know, even if it wasn't, even if even if it was done intentionally or not done intentionally, I don't know, right? But what
Right.
I do know is that sounds a little bit too strict. You
Right.
know, I mean, I'm like, did she kill him? Did she kill the kids? Like 60 years?
No,
Like,
that's the thing. She didn't do any of that. That's you know, in the last several interviews that I've had, as a matter of fact, I did 2 radio spots yesterday. And their biggest thing was, well, you're quite aware of this situation and this situation. She was brought up, and then there was a domestic violence situation from years ago, and they made a movie of it. It was the young lady who was basically tortured in front of her neighbors by her husband. And
mm,
that was the case that I can't bring her name to mind right now, but that was the case that changed domestic violence laws across the United States. Because this lady followed every legal avenue. She did what she was supposed to do um, as a victim. She called the police, and the police basically told her, you know what, we're not arresting we're not arresting this man for, for one, being a man, and two, you doing what he's supposed to do in his household. Well, she's like, okay, so beating on me is what he's supposed to do in his household. Um, and it took the police having to stand by and watch this man literally beat her head into the ground and stab her numerous times and drag her child off and tell that child, look, I killed your mother, when in actuality he didn't, for them to understand, you know, Marissa only did what she felt she had to do, which was protect herself in firing a warning shot. She did not point that gun at anybody. She pointed it at the wall. And what my problem was with it is just like, okay, somebody's just mad because girlfriend did what she had to do. It's not that she violated anybody's constitutional rights. She did not harm a soul. She preserved her life. She did what any human being would have done, fight or flight. And she fought. The only problem is that she did it with a weapon. And that's where
right.
they see the problem at. But if it was a man, and I'm just saying this to flip the script, if it was a woman coming at the man and his life was in danger and he fired the warning shot at the wall, would the outcome have been the same?
Well, I will say this. In Florida, it might have because
Uh-huh.
she in now I don't know about my city, but that makes an interesting case to find out. But and I'm gonna ask,
Okay.
but in Florida, the reason why the book was being thrown at her was because there was a law in the books and it was outdated. And
Mm-hmm.
the outdated law was, firing a weapon in a situation thus is this was it had the mandatory sentences,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was, and then if kids were in the vicinity,
Uh-huh.
it doubled the mandatory.
Right.
So that's what and then you filed 3 counts because it was her husband and the 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that so the district attorney who has the leeway in certain things, period, Angela Corey was coming after her with the 60 years
Mm-hmm.
because it is a mandatory. But from what I understand and from my research and my knowledge was the fact that in this instance, this law was created for like people selling drugs in gangs.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it
Right.
was a web that caught something that some lady was protecting herself, which the common sense thing says we need to have some common sense because
Right.
she wasn't running no flags and hey, I'm rolling with this color over here, and you in my territory, so I'm gonna shoot at you in a school zone, which is what the law was created for, right? So it's like this is crazy, and it's like so then it's like now they want you to plead guilty and do this, and it was. Initially this guy said, yeah, I beat her, and and they had all these other women he had beat on, and ultimately, what I believe, and through some sources, that she was a victim of loving her husband, because they said, well, why did she go to that house when it was clearly a restraining order and this, that, and the other. Well, that was her husband, and maybe she wanted to get her, still was her husband.
Right, still her man, so legally.
So that was, and this is what they said to me, and I'm talking about some inside sources to her. Like, she was guilty of loving her husband, and her husband, and women have needs, you know what I mean, in relationships, and I'm like, and when they said that, my eyes was like, I get it,
okay,
and it's so funny because I don't know. Obviously, I've never been a victim of actual physical abuse from a woman, and I also haven't physically abused any women. But I just, so, and I'm not going to say that I really even know anyone that I know of. But I that's one of those ones where I think that the normal person, or the person like me, might say, well, why don't you just leave? What stops a person from just saying, I'm out of here?
That was a question that was posed to me a lot last night. And what makes a person, there's many levels, and I don't think you would ever understand it unless you're in it. Because it's like with anything else. We can talk it, but until you're in it, you won't understand it. And I can tell you from my point of view, since I was a domestic violence victim, fear of losing the financial stability and a roof over my head was the two biggest factors for me. Because I had babies. I had 2 kids. Where was I going to go with 2 kids? I had a job, but at the same time, I couldn't afford a place by myself. What was I going to do? I had a lot of pride about myself because I wasn't about to go and turn to, the county or the state and say, help me be on welfare. No, I wasn't about to do that. And so pride plays a factor in that as well. You're more worried about how people see you as opposed to how you're dealing with your situation. So that for me on a personal level, if you put it out, the biggest fear is that who's going to love me? Who is going, because this person has pretty much convinced you no one else is going to put up with you except me. Ain't nobody going to want you. I mean, you use goods. Who's going to want used goods? Okay.
Hey, I ain't lying. There's women.
This person already used goods, okay? But they have you convinced it's you that's the problem.
I ain't lying. There's some women that I can say that to and mean it. Like, ain't nobody else gonna do it to you. Because it ain't. But I get the
but we ain't gonna go there. Okay. We're not gonna go there. No.
Ain't nobody else dealing with you. Trust me. Right. I mean, seriously.
Right.
So you got an event coming up. What's that all about?
Well, this event, which is called 50 Shades of Blue, is kind of a combination of things. 1, blue, because that's my writing name, Lady Blue. 50, because I turned 50 this month. So I just kind of combined the two together into 50 Shades of Blue. And this is an event that is honoring domestic violence survivors like myself. There's going to be a myriad of survivors in the house. There's going to be domestic violence. Believe it or not, there's going to be recent victims that have just gotten out of their situation that will be attending this event. We have guest speakers. We have Crush Angel, which is one of the representatives of the Guardians in Baltimore. She's a domestic violence survivor. She will be in the house. So this event is all about being a survivor, celebrating your life, being surrounded by those who know, have either had a family member or someone close to them that has been involved in it, lost their life to it. It all surrounds the domestic violence area. We are, it means a lot to me because domestic violence doesn't have the voice that it should have. There are people out there. I have discovered many individuals that are out there, but the thing of it is that the voice is not as loud as breast cancer or lupus or diabetes. And they're all important because my father, my grandfather, a cousin, a dear friend of mine is currently battling cancer. So cancer is not my friend. I don't like cancer. I'm right up there with everybody else. If a friend told me they had breast cancer today, I'd be behind them 110%. But my thing of it is that you say breast cancer, everybody can talk about it. You say domestic violence, people go into hush mode because they don't feel they should get involved. And you don't have to be in the situation physically to get involved. You can be involved by helping to provide resources, education, clothing, food, shelter. There's many ways to get involved in the domestic violence support area and not be physically in the situation.
So those are some of the main things that your events you're going to be talking about and helping people?
Right. We're going to talk about it. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to have, motivational speaking, inspirational speaking. We've got vendors that are, I've centered my vendors around the feel-good area, natural oils and hair care, defense for women, and I'm not talking tasers and knives. I'm talking, stuff you can take with you when you're running so that you feel that you have some mode of protection, learning how to use certain things. My father was a police officer. He taught me how to use things within my purse, on my person, to protect myself if I ever get in a situation. These are the things that I'm bringing forward. We have clothing. We have the things that will uplift the spirit. Okay, we have music, we have food, we have raffles, we have, it's just, it's only 4 hours, but there's a lot going on in this 4 hours. We have information. How do you get in touch with the domestic violence hotline? How do you recognize the signs of domestic violence? What do you do if you know of someone that's in a domestic violence situation? Understanding is just as important as being able to provide the help.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I guess those things are really needed because that's really, really interesting. Yesterday, I sat in on a media day with Elijah Shaw. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Elijah Shaw, but he's like a personal security, personal protection guy. He's like his Wikipedia page, or other people have coined him, the bodyguard of the stars. And and one of the things that he said is, even though he provides this, service to, these celebrities and A-list clients and whatnot, he also, his team and his company, they also do things for domestic violence situations where, say a woman or a man, I guess, in that instance, needs to go to the house to get some things. They'll escort her there to make sure that, or him, to make sure that nothing happens. Right. Even to courtrooms, where they got to, take depositions or do different things and, going through things, they'll actually literally, escort her to make sure that, nothing happens.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's interesting, because those are things that I never really thought of. And I probably never, I guess, like you said, until you're in those situations, just things you don't think about.
Right. I just recently found out about a moving company in California. It's a male-owned moving company. I can't think of the name of it right now. I don't have all my stuff in front of me, but they help victims of domestic violence move
from one place to the other. They don't charge a phenomenal fee. They are there last minute, if that's when you need them, to move your stuff out of that house so that you don't have to worry about trying to call a mover, being barred from being moved, anything like that. So there are people around that do a lot for domestic. But see, if it wasn't, you wouldn't have known about it if nobody would have brought it up.
Right.
Okay, so that's the thing. That's the whole entire point. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is done. And so as far as everybody's concerned, and when I say everybody, as far as the public eye is concerned, we're done with domestic violence. We don't have to hear about it. We don't have to talk about it. But there's still somebody somewhere that's picking up the phone, calling 911 and saying, okay, I've just been beaten by my husband, or, you know, I'm hiding in the closet because my boyfriend's on a rampage, or whatever the case may be. It still goes on, just like breast cancer goes on, just like everything else goes on. And it needs to continue being said. It's more than just the gun law. It's more than just the what is that thing? The protection order, the, you know, the stay away order, or whatever it is. It's more than that. Because once they're out of that situation, they have to start their lives pretty much all over again. They have to rebuild. Where do they go to rebuild when funding is being cut? Funding's being cut because the folks up there on Capitol Hill don't feel that many of the domestic violence programs are needed anymore. They don't find them to be, in other words, you know, they're not gaining off of it. So therefore, we're going to cut it because no money's functioning or flowing from it. That needs to stop. It needs to stop.
You know, you know, I guess you probably already knew that, but, you know, I'm new to this. So some of this stuff is alarming to me, as well as like interesting, like seriously, you know, that's a great point. Like, like, yeah, you know, it's like the simple things that you never would think about.
Right.
And so I'm glad you had this event. Is this the first time you have this event, or is this something that's annual, or?
This is the first time, and it's already in the works and in the talks on the table to make this a yearly event. We were waiting to see. Really, when I say we, I'm talking about those who have been supportive in helping. We're waiting to see what happens with this event. I have already received several phone calls and emails from people that are like, here's my ideas when you do this next year. They're already looking at 2016. You know, I did this entire thing out of my own pocket. This was not something that the only donations that I got was towards the raffle. No monies came from anywhere else. I got, you know, my permissions from where I needed to get my permissions from. I made sure everything was in writing so that nobody could say anything else. And I moved forward with it. Next year, I am going to be a 501c3, and we will move forward from there. So I'm jumping into another realm that I've never been in before. And I'm looking forward to it because I want to be able to honor those victims who did not survive domestic violence. I want people to be able to attend an empowerment session, a workshop, feel beautiful about themselves, learn some financial savvy, understand, you know, what their rights are, okay, and be able to, no matter how frustrated you get, there, you know, it can be done. You can get what you need to get. It may not work out for everybody. I'm not saying it's all, you know, sunshine and roses, but I'm saying to follow the legality of it, to be able to have the resources needed so that you're not, you know, pulling at straws, trying to figure out, do I go here? Do I go there? And having the resources at your fingertips to feel good about yourself, because once you've been beaten, it's very hard to feel beautiful. I should know. I almost had my jaw busted and my eye socket torn. I know what it's like to walk around with the fat lip and the sunglasses all day long. And when I say all day, I'm talking about from sun up to midnight, because you don't want anybody to see what you look like. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be constantly demeaned verbally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. It's a hard road to climb back up. And when you're doing it by yourself, it's even harder. When you have others that have been through, understand, know, can take you through it step by step without rushing you, that's what's needed.
I can see that, and it's like when I learned out about this is almost like learning about molestations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't. Me and my sister, my little brother, we were not molested as kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it was something that we really had no clue about. You can
Mm-hmm.
almost say that we were like naive to it, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
hear certain things and we hear, oh, that person's acting out because of this, right? you know,
Right.
it's like, yeah, whatever. And until you start to hear, I didn't know that men were molested, like for real, like
Yes.
even I didn't know that.
Yes, because a man is not going to come out and say that to you right off the bat. There's not a man that I know personally that's just going to say, hey, by the way, okay.
Right.
It takes some strength to come out with that kind of story. And that's the other thing that needs to change about domestic violence. It's not just women, it's men. Children are affected by domestic violence. Domestic violence is more than just the fat lip and the black eye. Domestic violence is verbal abuse, mental abuse, spiritual abuse. Verbal abuse and mental abuse can do a lot more damage than physical abuse, because you could heal from physical abuse. Black eye is going to go away in a matter of time. Fat lip is eventually going to go down. Verbal abuse, it gets in there. It works under your skin. It gets in your psyche. It tears you down. And you have to come back from that, basically with both cannons loaded, so to speak. You have to learn to be okay with you. You have to learn to love you again. You have to learn that society is not against you, that the fault of that one person is not the fault of many, because that was just one person. He or she is not the rest of the male or female population. That's one thing a lot of people need to learn, is that you can't blame the next one for the fault of the last one.
Right. Which
So,
is exactly. I mean, it's just so many little things, and that's one of the reasons why we're on this search for more bloggers. Not only that, but like that media day that we had yesterday with Elijah. I'm working on putting together. You'll be seeing this pretty soon. We're working on putting together, kind of cataloging our bloggers and looking for specific ones who really are going to be dedicated. And I'm not a really big proponent of you can only post stuff on Black folk hotspots, and I've seen people do that, and I think that's crazy. I'm a big proponent of post it on your site, and then post it on Black folk hotspots. Let us help you get more exposure, because what happens is they come to our site, they're going to click and see who wrote this, they're going to go read your profile, and they're going to go follow you on Facebook or Twitter, this, that, and the other. So now that a person's they're kind of like in your funnel, your funnel system, to see all your new information, and that's how it's been. And I don't just say that because that's the way we want it to happen. I say that then that's how we know our network has grown. That simple little thing. So as far as this event, when did you did one day you just wake up and be like, you know what, that's what I'm going to do?
I had been thinking for a long time, what is it that I could give back? Out of all the things that I've been through in my life, I've been trying to figure out ways to give back. Well, as I stated, this year I turned 50. 50 is big, that's huge. It marks a long trail that I've come through. And when I started thinking about this, at first, I said, okay, I want to throw a party, a big bash for my 50th birthday. I just want it to be this big, yay, Arlene's turning 50. And then I turned around and I said, you know what? I need to give back, because I've been through some things. And I saw a story about some time ago when they were talking about The Perfect Guy, the movie The Perfect Guy. And that movie basically is about something I went through, which is you think you found the perfect guy, next thing you know, he's stalking you. You don't know when he's going to turn up. Strange things started happening. I went through that in a situation, and I said, you know what? I need to talk about domestic violence. That's what it is. And so it went from just being a 50th birthday bash to being something that, yes, I can say I've turned 50, but in that 50 years, this is what I went through to get to 50. And that includes surviving domestic violence. So that's how the two came together. And it literally just snowballed the minute I dropped the idea on the table and started talking to people. It has just snowballed from there. And the support has been huge. It has been huge.
Mm-hmm. That's how it should be. Speaking of that, are they voting in Essex and Baltimore County today?
No, not that I know of, or I'd have been up on that one. I don't think so. I know they're doing it in Louisiana, but my family's from Louisiana, but I don't think there's any voting going on here today.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe in the city, and I don't keep up with the city too much, but I'd have to check. I haven't looked at the latest news as of yet.
Oh, yeah, because today's election day. It's that It's that first Tuesday.
Well, then I guess I better go and read the news.
in my town, it's everywhere. You only got a couple more hours, so if you're watching this, hang up and go vote. Sorry.
Get out and vote. I know I vote. I just have not looked at the news today because I've been 50 Shades of Blue soaked all day today. So,
but so all right. So, is there anything else that you would like that you have coming up that you like to add or
now, 50 Shades of Blue is my focus. What's coming up after 50 Shades of Blue? There's a couple other award shows that are coming up, and while I'm thinking of it, let me just state that the tickets for 50 Shades of Blue are $10. You can either get them from me or you can pay $10 at the door. Doesn't matter. Event is open to the public. It's not open to the select few. It is open to the public. If you want to know about domestic violence, you want to support the fight against domestic violence. If you want to talk to a domestic violence survivor, this is the place for you to be. So let me just get that out there. As I stated, I will be, taking a well-deserved break after this, but then I will continue writing and working towards the next event. We do have a couple of community events that are not domestic violence geared, but it brings the community together to talk about things in the community. There's one event called We All We Got. That's the name of the event. And it's just bringing people that are concerned about community together to talk about community. That event is on my website event calendar. There's a number of other events that are on my event calendar. I do keep up with the community and put those things on my calendar. So if you can't find it one place, pretty sure you'll find it on my event calendar somewhere. And the writing continues. As a matter of fact, I wanted to bring up, you said earlier about how, people growing up, you weren't really exposed to certain situations and you didn't know about those certain situations, which kind of brought up the blog I wrote, You Bought It On Yourself. And that was more or less about people who really felt that a domestic violence situation is something that you did that, you incurred that, go fix that. I have no knowledge of it. I didn't even know that happened. So I just wanted to bring that to light as well. And we will be working on the next event. That's basically the next year's event. And getting that together. That's the next thing that's going down for Lady Blue.
That's good stuff. So, so make sure you guys, if you guys are in the Baltimore County area, definitely check it out. And then if you're seeing this after the fact, make sure you connect with the blog, with Arlene's blog and whatnot. You can find out the link to the description, link in the description below, whether you're watching this on YouTube, or Facebook or Black Folk Hotspots or LinkedIn or Google Plus, whatever. And then follow those links. You can find all of your places across social media and things like that. Okay, so you had kind of like a question of like, how, to get and keep others interested. Is that something that you're
right? What I find is a lot of people when they find out about me, they're gun ho, and I do my best to keep it fresh. I write something new. I make sure it's everywhere it needs to be. But then it's like after a while, they tend to drop off because I don't know if it's because they're not seeing what they think they need to see, or am I not offering enough? I try to make my site as interactive as possible. And I ask constantly, give me your feedback. Let me know what you want to hear, what you'd like to see. Never a response. Never. Okay. And that kind of bothers me because I offer you the opportunity to comment, and the comments are very few and far between. So what do you do to get people to engaged, more than just saying, oh, I'm going to go check out her latest blog. She wrote a latest blog because I saw it here, and here. But when you get to the blog, what do I do to keep you interactive, asking me questions, getting me to feedback back and forth? Because something in me tells me if I get you to interact with me and feedback, that's going to keep you on my site, because that means you're going to want to get into the discussions to find out other people's opinions, what the blogger feels, why the blogger wrote this. And that's where I'm not seeing any action at whatsoever.
Well, say that last part one more time, and I'm apologize for getting.
That's okay. I was saying, to keep the reader, engaged, asking questions, commenting, feedback, in order to get, a response from me or from another person reading the comment, to just get the interaction and engagement from them, because I'm not seeing any action in that arena. I could write the blog and it's everywhere, and you could like it 17,000 times on Facebook, but if I'm not getting any feedback on it, I don't know if you read it or not. And I'm always giving you the opportunity to feedback. Talk to me. Tell me what it is you like, don't like, what you want to see. It's like crickets.
Well, let me just say this. You don't worry about that.
Okay.
Reason being is, as I've been telling people. First, let me ask you a question. How did you find out about Black Folk Hotspots?
I was referred by someone else who happened to notice that you were looking for bloggers.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't even know about it. So you came by way of somebody else. And
right.
The only thing that you did was create the profile, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
you now I'm gonna tell you, I don't know, did they tag you in a post or something? Or did
yes.
They tell you
Yes, they tagged me in a post. They're a Baltimore area radio personality, internet radio personality, and they happened to say, I don't know where they saw it. All I know is they said, hey, tag me with a few other people and say, hey, I know this is right up your alley. So I went and I clicked on it and I started reading on it, and then, it all went from there.
So think about that. So that person by the way, but that person, thank you, whoever you are, person. No. That person connected two people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that person knew about you and they knew about us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I try. Where I'm going with this is, I personally don't know who that person is. And maybe I missed the tag or whatever, but I personally don't know. Mm-hmm. But I know that when you continuously put stuff out there, right, good things happen. So
okay.
continue to do the things that you do consistently. Because if you look around the internet, and let me tell you, you can go through our Facebook page, right? And certain things you see likes and comments on, certain things you don't. Right? That does not mean that people are not seeing it. All that means is they're not taking the time to click like, share, or comment.
Okay.
What I would like for you to do, and I think that you do, but let me double check. Like, where are you looking for this engagement? Are you looking for it on your blog? Are you looking for it on Twitter? Are you looking for it on Instagram? Where are you looking for it from?
Well, pretty much where I post my blog. I'm looking for it on my website. I put it on my fan page on Facebook. I put it on Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus. So I put it wherever, you know, I try to do as much social media. Once I put a blog out, it goes everywhere. I put it everywhere. Whether you engage with me on either one of those, you know, if you liked it, fantastic. But you know, as I stated, as you just stated, you know, you could like it, but that doesn't mean you read the blog. Okay.
Right. True. But it does let you know that somebody was there and they saw that post.
Right.
And the reason I'm saying certain things is, and I'm looking at your Facebook page now, and the one thing that you're doing a great job at is the posts. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what a lot of people don't do. They're not consistent. Yours is at least you're posting. The other thing is, I would add a little bit more feel good stuff.
Okay.
Let me tell you. A lot of people don't necessarily agree with this, but I'm gonna tell you it works because you have to know your audience. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we like stupid stuff sometimes.
Okay.
And you know, this is what I teach my people. There's some, you know, I do the consulting side of things. There's some big companies that their post to Facebook has nothing to do with their product. None of them.
Okay.
All cats and dogs. Mm-hmm. People love funny cats and dogs. Mm-hmm. People love seeing people run through run through glass glass doors. Uh-huh. You know, thinking it was clear. Uh-huh. You know, what happens is that builds up some of the engagement. So it's silly. You know, like I get accused of, dang, what they got to do with black business? Number one, this is my page. Mm-hmm. Hell, I could post a picture of a leaf outside on the ground if I felt like it.
That's true. That's true.
It's mine. I own. Right. I mean, I'm not saying I own Facebook, but I created that Facebook page. You know what I mean? I'm the CEO of Black Folk Hotspots.
Right.
You know, it's not. It's you know, yeah. You know, with our team, they do what I want them to do, and I get different people because I want different feel good stuff. I want them to post what they feel they like, mm-hmm. because I know that I can't like everything that you like, and you can't like everything that I like.
Right.
So I also alluded to there's. Do you watch boxing at all?
No. I'm a football fan.
Okay. That's fine. You're a Ravens fan?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You
don't look at me like that.
You guys are doing really well this year.
Don't look at me like that.
But anyway, when they're playing good, I like the Ravens. But but so here's the deal. So you know that they're not going to run the ball every play.
Right.
They're going to mix in some passes. They're going to mix in some other stuff. It's not going to be all runs. It's going to be runs or passes. They might run twice and then pass the ball. They may pass the ball twice and then run the ball. They might fake it. They might fake a run and pass the ball. They may fake a pass and run the ball.
Right.
So it's mixing up the schemes, right?
Okay. Okay.
So maybe it's 3 passes, 3 runs to 1 pass in your instance, or 4 runs to 1 pass, or 5 passes to 1 run. It is kind of all I'm saying is mix it up, you know, and then you come with your sales pitch because you want to come with your sales pitch. Hey, I just wrote a new blog. Bam, you need to read this, right? bam, I got a new event coming out. But these are the things. These are the bombs down the field.
Okay.
Right, because every play, some plays are designed to get a couple yards. I mean, they say that every play is designed to get a touchdown, but I don't believe that's true. I think some plays are designed to pick up 3 yards in the first down, so you can keep moving the chains.
Okay.
So you have to go. But then sometimes they say, let's take a shot. And, they hike the ball and, they play action, they fake the run, and they throw the ball 50 yards down the field to Steve Smith or whoever the wide receiver is that year.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
That's the big play. And those are your sales pitches. Those are your pitches you're giving them. But other than that, you just feed them the little stuff. Boop, 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 boop,
okay.
Boop, 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 and you're just moving down the field. And then you want to go for the touchdown.
Okay. And
that's how and you'll start to see it. And it may be some, people look at it and say, oh, that's not professional. You know what? I don't know the definition of professional.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody knows the definition of professional. I think they have their own definition of what they believe professional is.
Uh-huh.
And so, I'm more apt to take more risk, right? I look at it like, if you don't like it, leave the page.
Right, right.
Not only can I say that when we got 45,000 people, but I said when we had 2 as well.
Uh-huh.
When if you left, we would have just lost 50% of everything we had. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so if you look at those things, it's the same way. Like, you haven't experienced this as far as we'll go through a period of time where we'll send out emails inside Black folk hotspots 2-3 times a day for like 2 weeks. But what we're trying to say is this is information you need to see.
Right.
Right. Or it's a way to push, because sometimes we want to push people out. We want to get rid of the people who ain't listening and talk to the people who are.
Okay.
You're already doing the one thing that I always talk about, the lack, and that's not posting them. You are posting them.
Okay.
That's one thing that you're doing. And I would do the same thing on Twitter, because these audiences are different. So with Twitter, a lot of times Twitter is pretty simple and Twitter is a lot easier, because you might have things.
Okay.
Let me find out who this person is. Sorry about that. No,
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm right here.
Oh, hold on one second.
My son will show you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
1 p.m. and 3 p.m.
This is Comcast calling me to let me know about my appointment that I was supposed to have yesterday.
That sounds about right.
As a reminder,
hold on.
Someone over 18 with a photo ID.
They were supposed to come yesterday to fix my case.
Oh, I'm gonna move to where there's a little bit better lighting real quick.
Okay.
Now, press star to repeat this message. Otherwise, you may hang up.
Yeah, but it's...
You have requested to reschedule your appointment. If this is correct, please press 1. If not, please press 2.
No, I don't want to reschedule.
Your appointment is scheduled for Wednesday,
so
November 4th, between 1 p.m.
It's one of the things, so,
3 p.m.
and that's how that works, and it's consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Because over time,
As a reminder, someone
over time, people are watching it. They're going to be clicking through. That's how you're getting those views. You got to understand that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll call them back and curse them out later. I was going to call them today and totally forgot. Because I'm like, they were supposed to come yesterday. I'm like, it was Monday Night Football. If I didn't know other resources, I'd have missed it. But ultimately, that's how social media networks are grown. And then with Twitter, you go look at some of those trending topics and you retweet, or maybe you participate in them. And what happens is now people start retweeting. They start looking at you. They see this because it's the hot topics right now. Right. So then they come to your page and they see the other stuff.
Right. Hi, he says hi. Hi, bye. Sorry, that's one of the people dropping off some stuff for my event. So.
Oh, that's all good. But that's what you. Yeah, this is live. Hey, but that's that's how that works. So
Okay.
you some of that stuff, you participate in the other conversations, and then what happens is, and even with Black Folk Hotspots, our goal is to get more of us to start liking and sharing each other's stuff, because that's another thing. It's a cross. Like, for instance, I talked to a school teacher out in California who's just starting a tutoring business, who's a member of Black Folk Hotspots earlier. Well, he's a math tutor. And I'm, while you were talking, I'm like, there's probably some, domestic violence victims who are not at home. Maybe they stay because, the man is smart and he knows how he works with the kids. So if they leave, maybe they're not the smartest in math, you know what I mean? The strongest in math, so they can't help the kids, because I know things like that happen. Maybe this guy can plug into a Skype session and help these kids learn, learn math. So it's so many different things, and we got to learn how to connect, just like the radio person connected us. It's all in time. When we started looking at numbers and growth, it was, our biggest thing is consistency, and because we were consistent and just doing the little things, and getting cursed out on a daily basis by Black business owners and other things, because everybody knows better. Like lately, there's some things that's still an approval queue. Well, we put a slowdown on it because we tend to slow down, because doing big holidays is almost useless to, doing big time periods and things going on, it's almost useless to post stuff. Right. So we got enough already going through the system, so we kind of just let that flow. And then we come back in, which is why we tell people, you have an event, you shouldn't be posting your event. Number one, if you post a blog to Black Folk Hotspots, if you post a video and you post a photo, it should already be posted to your own site. Right. I agree with you, and that it is. We're secondary. You know what I mean? We're that helpmate, right? You shouldn't be telling us first before you're telling yourself. You know what I mean? Because now we got bigger issues, and I don't want you dependent on us like that. And then if it's an event, I understand certain things. Maybe you just joined a network or this, that, and the other, so you just got into your events in a couple of days. But if you've been a member for any length of time, then your event, don't post your event that you've been knowing about, that's been plugged and is everywhere across the internet for 6 months, and now it's 2 days left, and now you post the event, and now you bugging me about approving it. Hurry up. Right. I just posted this event. Approve it. But you've known about this event for it's been everywhere, because I definitely checked. It's been on Eventbrite and Ticket Lead and Facebook and Twitter and this place and this place. Hell, you got radio ads, you got all this other stuff. Now all of a sudden it's 2 days away and it's a rush. We may or may not get to it. So we tell people, hey, when you find it, all we're going to do is put it through the rotation, and it's going to constantly go through. Eventually it catches. Some things catch more than others, right? But when they catch, our hope is just like you, that people go back and they start looking and saying, oh, what else is out there? Right. What else is on this page? What else do these people do? Like, damn, it's all these people, and by doing these things, that's how we got to be getting the top 5 in Alexa, the top 500 website in terms of traffic globally, because we do things consistently, right? And because we're Black business focused, I would venture to say that we're probably in the top 10, if not number 1, because I don't know no other site that solely focuses on Black business owners that get more traffic than we do. Right. I just don't. It's not out there. So because it's Black business, and you already know how we are, and that's the one thing. When I met with Google, they asked me, why did I start this? And I said, there's one thing that I know more than anything else in this world. And they said, what? I said, me. I'm Black, and I've been Black all my life. I understand our psychology. I understand the things that we do. I take it back. I don't quite understand some of the things we do sometimes, but I understand what we're going to do. And the majority of us are not, we're going to pick up things that's good for us after the fact. A lot of times, I just know that we got a lack of support. We can just look around in every community that we're in. You know, if you go to Baltimore, if you go to Detroit, if you come to Gary, Indiana, Chicago on the South Side, Atlanta in certain areas, and I don't care what they say about Atlanta. You know, whether it's Richmond, Virginia, or Houston, Texas, or Dallas, Texas, it's all the same. That the support has to grow. We have to. It's like we have to prove to other people, to our own people, that we're good people, and that's fine. Which is what I tell people. That's why we have. I'm sure you guys have, you know, Black focused nightclubs that have grand opening and grand closings. They can't stay open. They have no longevity whatsoever. You know, and it's not from lack of support. It's from the way these people run things, because they have a goal, but they don't realize that it's a marathon with black businesses. Because once you know of a black business, you'll see them around forever. It just is, you know. In my hometown, there's a lounge that's been open since before I was born in 1972. But then, you know, then all these others have like 2-year lifespans, if that. Focus on one thing and stick to it and roll with it and be consistent. And it's the same way in business. But you also have to add in a little bit of that stuff to get some of those people who are liking your page, give them something funny to laugh at sometimes. You know, some of this you got 1,600 people, you know, and I'm gonna tell you another thing, quotes. You're about positivity, inspiration, post some positive quotes a little bit often too. Quotes do well. People like quotes. If you can find the quote memes or post a quote themselves. Is your Facebook page, does it push to your Twitter?
This Facebook page pushes to, yes, it does. It does. Now, the quotes I put on my other page, because I have an inspirational page, and that's Joy Does Come in the Morning. That's the inspirational page. I've been wanting to merge the two pages together, because I think I can do that on Facebook, so that what I post throughout the day on the inspirational page also crosses over to that, because whatever I post automatically hits my Twitter feed.
Okay, so the stuff that shows up on Twitter is not, that links back to, it looks like that's your personal page.
Yeah, my personal page, but I try whatever, if it shows up on my personal page, like say my inspirational site, I can say, okay, I'm going to share it with my personal page. If I put it on my personal page, it goes to my Twitter. My inspirational site, I would have to change the format of it in order for it to, because it's a group as opposed to like a personal website page or anything like that.
Oh, it's a group?
Yeah, the inspirational page is a group.
You're not going to be able to take the group to group.
Right, I'd have to change the whole format of it.
Yeah, it's going. If you want to go to Twitter, it's either going to come from your personal site or from your business page. I personally would recommend your business page goes to Twitter, and then you could take from your business page and share it to your personal page and to your group.
Okay.
That's how I would do it.
Okay.
And honestly, I would push all those people out of your group to your business page.
Okay.
That would be my goal, to get everybody out of the group that's in the group to like the business page. Okay. That's what I would do. Reason being is, except for the fact that you know that they're in there, there's absolutely no value search engine wise from that group. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't work, me personally, it's just my personal belief. I don't do anything mostly that can't, you know, unless it's another agenda that can't be found by hitting Google. Okay. And that group can't be found by hitting Google. Okay. Google is not going to find it. Facebook doesn't open them up to the search engines, but your fan page, your business page is, so people can find you by Googling certain things. So by getting all that stuff on that page, that's how it works. Okay. And then I will push that to your Twitter, so that way your Twitter is always being updated. Okay. And then when you go in, you can go in once a day, and you can go. And I see you have it linked to your Instagram, which is great. because now it'll be updated with your Instagram, it'll be updated with your page, with your business page on Facebook. So now people eventually click those things from time to time, and now they're connected in two places.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, your Twitter followers, and then you'll start to see the growth. It's just all consistent stuff. I'm telling you.
Okay.
And that's what I know that has worked for Black Folk Hotspots and for the majority of my clients. You know, I tell people I can't tell you what I don't know. I can tell you what I do know and what's worked, and I am one of those ones that will share the information, not try to say you can figure this out on your own. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you.
It's some things that I know, but I might not remember all the steps, so I'm going to tell you to Google the step. But here's the steps you need to Google. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's something that I can work on. And, you know, as I was saying, a lot of this stuff I learned myself. I self-taught. I watched. I saw what other people were doing, and that's, you know, I tried it. If it worked, I stuck with it. If it didn't work, I let it go and moved on to something else. And the one big thing that a few people have been putting in my ear is, you know, you need to get sponsors. You need to show sponsors on your page. Well, I don't know how to get sponsors. I wrote sponsorship. I've written sponsorship letters before. That's how 50 Shades of Blue has been, you know, taking off the way that it has. But to get sponsors for the website, that's a whole different ball of wax.
I mean, I guess you could. I guess it works. And it's not something I ever looked at doing. But as far as, are they saying that as far as monetizing the website or whatnot?
That's pretty much what they're looking at is, you know, monetizing the website. My whole thing with my website is giving you a place to go where you can, you know, you can find some inspiration, solace, peace, something funny, something on a local artist, individual, activist, whoever it is that you may be looking for, didn't know about, want to know about. Okay. It's another spot for you to see what's going on locally, but it's not just, you know, we're not just going to spend the whole blog talking about, you know, Freddie Gray, or the whole blog talking about body cams for the, you know, Baltimore City Police Department. It's talking about different things, be it personal or be it something newsworthy that I may have an opinion on. I didn't really think about sponsors in the beginning because to me, it wasn't about monetizing the website. I have, you know, a direct sales business that I do, but at the same time, it's not something that's taken over my blogging. My blogging is priority versus the direct sales.
Right. Well, it would make sense to include those things as well, but there's ways to take the content that you already have, monetize it, because you do want to do that. You don't want to blog for free. You know, there's other things. There may be books. There may be certain things that you're talking about in your deals that you might want to look at to being maybe Amazon affiliate, because. And find a link to those things and post it to Amazon so people can purchase. Because, you know, if it's something that you post like, oh, you know, if it's personal protection, you know, things like maybe, you know, 10 things you need to do to protect yourself, personal protection items that you recommend or stuff like that. And then those products and services are on Amazon or where they can buy them. Right. You know, what I found is, and I'll be honest with you, I found is a lot of people, when they go out and they get sponsors, they over-exaggerate what they got. Okay. They over-exaggerate the amount of traffic they get on a daily basis, you know, because they want to get that sponsor. They want to make money, and they want to do anything they can do to do that. And I've seen people who are in my same niche, you know, I've seen some of the things, like I've seen the way people reworded things like, oh, we've had 2 million viewers, or we've had this. Yeah, but you wrote one post that went viral in the month of February of 2014, right? That traffic ain't consistent. Right. You know what I mean? Or I've heard people say, oh, we get, you know, 2 million viewers and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, really? You know, so that means if you get that many, I know I don't. You should be ranked higher than me as far as traffic. Right. and you're not. So that means you're not getting more traffic than I am. So you're lying. You know, because I so it's difficult. You know, it's a space. So I like what you're saying because you're blogging to be blogging, but as you figure it out, you know, whether it's doing certain things, because your monetization may not be your blog. Your monetization may be your events. Your monetization may be t-shirts or something. Your monetization may be, you know, some silicone, you know, bracelets or some type of bracelets that denote, you know, what it is you do. That may be where you monetize yours at.
Okay.
You know, different little that run, and that's just how that's how I see it.
Okay.
You know, there's people that have written books. You know, maybe, you know, you could sit down, do interviews with them. You know, and you end up in, you know, start saying, hey, come down on domestic violence. You know, here's a book. You know, or by interviewing this person for free, you know, you can say, I'll interview you, but send me a book, right? I want to use a book as a giveaway to one of my readers.
Okay.
Because your goal is to get more viewers, because the more viewers, now the sponsorship dollars will come even more.
Okay.
You know, people will be reaching out to you like, hey, I want to put a link on your page. You know, we know, trust me, they do know. I don't know what they be looking at, but I get emails all the time. You know, like, hey, we noticed this, or we noticed that, you know, or phone calls. And it's, I got a call out the blue yesterday from some guy that was looking for black businesses. You know, and I told him he interrupted my nap, you know, which he thought was funny that I take a nap at 1:30 in the afternoon. I said, yeah, actually, I was late on that. I usually take my nap between 11:30 and 1. You know, you know, because I usually start the first interview when I have them at 1 o'clock. So I usually try to take a nap between 11 and 12, rather, or, you know, and just that way I can get refreshed because I'm up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, and staring at a computer screen all day, you know, dries your eyes out and everything else. So, so it's a bunch of little things that you can do to make it work. But it's so many different little things. But whatever works, you find them, you'll look at them, and you'll find, as you start to reach out, it sounds as though you're starting to inch into a whole new audience, a whole new type of person, you know, by reaching out from, you know, this event and the things that you've done in the past with the award thing. You're going to start to find that because that's what happens. You start to hit different cycles.
Okay.
And sometimes it's going to amaze you. You know, do you look at your traffic stats daily? Do you look at your stats?
I get a weekly stat counter every Friday.
Why not every day?
That's not the way my web designer set it up. She set it up so that I get it once a week.
Oh, so that means she set it up sending you emails.
So it just at the end Friday, boom, I get an email in the morning about my stats. Is
it coming from Stat Counter?
Yes.
Okay, you need to log in Stat Counter.
Okay.
That's just the email that you can set up. But what I'm saying, because you log in, there's certain things that you see, like for instance, keywords. Right? You can find out keywords that people, whoa, man, I forgot Stat Counter don't do that no more. But Google Analytics does. Let me see. You can also you can see what people have looked at.
Okay.
When that thing that you're getting, can you see the different things that they've looked at?
No, it basically tells me a total views, new users, returning users. I get there's 5 different things that I get in terms of, you know, not users, but views, new views, returning viewers, things like that.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you need to log directly into Stat Counter, and what needs, and once you do that, you can look at things like exit links. What was the last thing a person, you know, looked at before they left your site, right? Because now it gives you information, right? It tells you what pages they leave my site on. That's valuable.
Okay.
Right? I equate website traffic to working a storefront, right? But the storefront, you can see these people. You can see them walk through the door. You can see which route they take to get to your store. So if you see that everybody's going to this say it's a clothing store and you sell purses, this and other, but if you see people come in and they're headed straight towards this rack with the Michael Kors purses, right? Then maybe you need to take that Michael Kors purse rack and put it in the back of the store. So now they got to go through all these other different things to get there.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You know, most people are like, oh, let me move that to the front. No, you move that to the back. Make them pass other stuff.
You want them to see the store before they actually go for.
Yeah.
I get it.
You know, you can see recent keyword activity. You can see where people came from. Right? So, and I'll tell you one of the things that they did for me. For a long time, I couldn't buy traffic from Twitter. It just seems like no matter what I did, people did not come from Twitter. Like, what the hell? You know, and I started focusing on Twitter. Now, you know, I get a whole lot more stuff from Twitter.
Okay.
I mean, we get a lot more stuff, right? And we can see that, you know, we can also see things like I just clicked on ours and I don't even know who Mother Knows. Oh yeah, I do. I know who Mother Knows Best is. That's one of our members that hasn't been active in like 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? But it says refer. It's a post that she did. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
It's a post that she
I want to know.
It's a post that she did April 22nd, 2010.
Okay.
We're getting traffic from that. Still.
Wow. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But I know why. It's because she has somebody, you know, she'd include us in a link or something she talked about, or she did something. But she hadn't been active in 3 or 4 years on Black Folk Hotspot. But we'll take the traffic.
Okay.
Right? So it's little things like that. What's this? T-Mobile. I don't even know. Some came from T-Mobile. You know, we see the last is this site that Mothers Knows Best it's from Facebook, some coupon follow, a Twitter, Facebook. I don't know. It looks like somebody's logging in from T-Mobile. Search web, T-Mobile, Facebook. I mean, not T-Mobile. Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, stumble upon, which means somebody shared our information on stumble upon, and then Facebook. And those, you know, and then, you know, I can look at, you know, search engines. I can look at the most popular posts.
Okay.
Right. So now I can, if I know something is popular. Now, have you noticed that through your Twitter, we're constantly, you're seeing stuff from us constantly that's tagging you in it?
Yeah.
Well, that's because that stuff is popular on the site.
Okay. And I've noticed folks retweeting it as well. Yeah.
Right. What I figured, and I figured this out a couple years ago. I said, wait a minute, if it's popular, then I may not be the only one. You know, maybe we need to keep sending it out, right? And so that works. So it's popular information. So we keep it going. We keep sharing it over and over and over again because it's popular. You see what I'm saying? If 10 people or 20 people are looking at this right now, then man, maybe it's another 20 people that want to look at it.
Right.
Maybe there's another 100 people want to look at it. So those are the kind of things that we do, you know, to just start to get the traffic numbers up. Because once you get the traffic numbers up even more, now stuff goes to other places. You know, I am not trying to be funny, but when I look at things, I look at, you know, how, you know, what, and I've made this crack a couple of times because it's people that piss me off from time to time, and so I'm not a really big bragger, but I tell people what you're doing in a month or a year, we doing in a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
Right.
really? Quit lying about your numbers. I know because I can go search them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Alexa.com is how you can look at and look at traffic. It is independent. It's how you can tell where a person ranks. You know,
Okay.
when I look at Alexa for Black folk hotspots, you know, I see things like we're ranked 517,000 in the world. So we dropped a little bit, you know, about 17,000 spots, which really makes no difference because tomorrow will be 490. But more importantly, you know, we're ranked, you know, 112 in the United States. But when people come to our site, these are different things that we need to know. Like when people come, you know, they're looking at 39 different pages when they come on average per visitor, and they're spending 42 minutes on our site.
Okay.
You know, that's huge. That's a lot of time. If you compare that to Facebook or Twitter or Google, the places where you see people hanging out all the time on social media, YouTube, Instagram, we're doubling their numbers. We just don't have the amount of members that they have.
Okay.
But one of the things that, before I wrap this up, one of the things that we're setting up, I think I briefly mentioned it, is we're going to have more media days where we interview, where we're, you know, we're working with a group that brings in, you know, some A-list, some B-list, some C-list, some D. Like I've interviewed, you know, or sat in on interviews for Tyrese or Sequoia B. Bogut from Startup University, which is running on ABC Family. Matter of fact, I was watching it right before that. I was trying to catch up on the season, but it's really good. The other day, Elijah Shaw, who was actually, I think he was like the bodyguard for like Usher and a few other people. So, you know, he got the skinny on some of the industry things. Plus, he's a black dude from Chicago that started a security business. And now he's like one of the most sought after, you know, dudes. So on the business side of things, and then other celebrities, they maybe, I don't know what they call them, C-list, D-list, but I will be reaching out to you. And saying if you want to be included, because you can put those things in your page, you know, you can interview those people. And all we require is that you do a write-up on it. You can post it to your blog as well as you have to post it to Black Folk Hotspots blog.
Okay.
And your blog on Black Folk Hotspots, and then, you know, that's the only requirements. And you'll start getting more and more exposure, more and more looks, because, you know, these are people who, you know, people, we as black people, we love celebrities. You know, it's people that be like, you know, yeah, I'm wishing for you, but they won't pay no attention to you till you then blew up.
Right.
It's just how we are.
Right.
And
that's just how it is. Yeah.
And you can't be mad about it. It's just the way, you know, it's kind of crazy sometimes. You know, like I always ask the question, like, how long does it take to become an overnight success?
A lot of nights. Okay.
or maybe none. You know,
right.
You know, it's just the way it works. It's an overnight success. It can happen. It can take one night, or it can take, you know, 20 years worth of nights or 30 years worth of nights. The whole key to it is don't never give up.
Right.
You know, just be consistent, and then when you do, whenever you become that success, then people are like, I always knew you'd be a success, but you never hear them say that. You know, just, I don't know. I don't know. You know, you roll with a couple people that's in your circle, and then that's how we get where we're going. So, any questions for me?
You know, right now, I'm taking in everything that you've said, which I want to apply. Question-wise is, you know, I'm still kind of feeling out how to get my page on Black Folks Hotspot to stand out. I'm not always the greatest computer person in the world, but is there anything, I mean, besides making the page my own, which basically that's what it is, it's mine. Is there any one thing in general to do different than I would do, say, on my blog page, on my website?
Nope. Nope. Not at all. Now, I will say this. if you know of any events that maybe you're attending, like that Music Awards event, you knew you were going to be there, right? I would have posted that event.
Okay.
Why? Because other people might come and then they come show up because then now they're like, oh, Arlene hooked us up, or Arlene is there.
Okay.
You know, and then it supports the area, and that's another thing too. I don't tell a lot of people, but you know, we tap into about 300,000 people directly. You know, so you know, there's people that have events and things like that
so
sometimes
it doesn't necessarily have to be mine. It could just be an event that I'm attending.
Yeah, or you've been in that, or hell, you could charge other people to post their events.
Okay. Hey,
I mean,
putting those ideas in my head, but yeah, because I got a few events that I'm going to be attending in the coming days. So
yeah, they're cool. Post them, you know, because what essentially doing is you're giving those people, you know, more exposure, but it happens. And I got people who that's what they do. That's their business. They got their little, you know, event promotions, little business, but they're using Black folk hotspots too. So they can tell people, hey, I got X amount of people because they do.
Okay.
You know, I tell people, don't be a fool, use it.
Okay. You got it, because like I said, I got events. If I'd have done that, I'm pretty sure, you know, not that the venue wasn't packed, but I just had the Baltimore Crown Awards where I was a nominee. I got another award show coming up in December, the Titan Arts Awards that I'm a nominee in Blog of the Year category. So those things are happening in the terms of awards that are coming up. And then I mentioned to you about the community event that's coming up. There's a lot of things that I've been invited to. So I guess those are the things that I'm going to start posting.
Right.
Because I've been invited.
Definitely post those things, because what we're going to do is get them out. They're happening in your area. If you're going to be there, you know, I used to go to this networking set all the time. It wasn't my networking set, but I always posted it. Right.
Okay.
And then what happened was people would start coming to meet me.
Okay. Gotcha.
you know what I mean?
I got you.
It just was what it was, you know, and that's how it started, because there's people who like, hey, they want to know what's going on. They just don't know. And maybe they're connected to you, maybe they're not. But that's how, or maybe they're connected on Black folk hotspots, but they don't know what's going on. They don't know this is happening.
Okay.
So it works. So anyway, I'm gonna have to wrap this. I gotta go. Today's election day over here, so the poll's about to close in about 20 minutes. So I gotta start moving. I suppose the candidate I help gotta go and go to the headquarters and stuff. And and actually I got another video, so I gotta go handle this, and then I gotta come back, and then I gotta go back out. But anyway, Arlene, it was and that's where I've been. You know, I knew that. You know, it's a lot of work to doing certain things. But this video will be on YouTube.
You've given me a lot of information. You know, please, by all means, keep me in mind. I love to write, so writing is my thing. And, you know, anything, whatever it is, I'll be glad. You know, if I got to take a day off work, I will take a day off work, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they usually, let me tell you, these media days, they usually run 3 sessions. They'll run a morning session, maybe a late afternoon, like maybe a 2 or 3, and then they'll run an evening session like 7, 8, or 9. So that's never, as long as if you can make one of those work. But you know, all the time, you know, we just trying to build that up, because it's something big coming, and I can't talk about it yet. But hey, I appreciate you.
I'm you know, open, receptive, and willing to do. That's, you know, when it comes to writing, wherever I could put my pen to good use, I'm there.
And you can also listen back on this. You can go to YouTube. You can listen back. So if you miss something, you can pick up some tips, because it's there. But I'm gonna have to wrap this. It was a pleasure. It really was.
Yes.
And I don't even know what this. Oh, this is episode 80. So it's episode 80 with Arlene, Lady Blue from the Baltimore area, Essex County. It was a pleasure rapping with you today, talking about business, learning more about you, you know, and interacting on how we can use these platforms, social media, to grow all of our businesses.
Yes.
But I really do. I appreciate it. If you give out your links to where they can find you real quick.
Okay,
You know,
I have my website, which is ladyblue1, and that's the number 1.com. You can find me on Facebook, The Real Lady Blue One. You can find me on Twitter as TH1KMDM09 or at Always Motivate. And always is spelled with a Z, not an S. So Always Motivate. And I'm also on Instagram under Lady Blue One, and that's LADYBLUU, and the number 1.
Awesome. And also, you can find a link to our page on Black Folk Hotspots in the description below.
Yeah.
As well as, we got these T-shirts that say "Support Black Business." I'm not wearing one today because I was fucking burning up. Excuse my language. But the link's in the description. You can go check it out, because the more you help us, the more we're able to help Black business owners. Anyway, thanks for watching. We got 81 and 82, I think, coming up later on tonight. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't feel like canceling them. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and then go check out Lady Blue, aka Arlene, or Arlene, aka Lady Blue. Peace. Thanks for watching.
All right. Night night.